Before this story begins, understand what you are about to hear. This story will teach you that fear is not your enemy, avoidance is. That the mind can become your worst battlefield. That isolation exposes who you truly are. That weakness screams in the dark. That a warrior is not the man who feels no fear, but the man who walks forward while feeling it. This is not just horror. This is discipline under pressure. This is mental warfare. Now listen carefully. The story. In the northern mountains of Montana, United States, there is a forest the locals rarely speak about. Not because it is haunted, but because men who enter it alone do not come back the same. They call it Black Hollow. No ghosts, no monsters, no legends carved in stone. Just silence. A silence so heavy it presses against your chest. 5 grown men decided to enter that forest. Not boys, men in their 30s, ex-military, athletes, hunters. They weren't looking for adventure, they were looking for proof. Proof that fear was a myth. Proof that the mind could be controlled. They planned a 3-day survival challenge. No phones, no GPS, no backup. Just skill, just pride. The first day was easy. They laughed, they mocked the rumors, they built a fire, they felt powerful. The second night, everything changed. It started with sound. Not a roar, not a scream. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, circling their camp. One of the men, Carter, stood up with a flashlight. Nothing, just trees. But the footsteps continued. Another man, Victor, whispered, "It's just animals." But animals don't walk in rhythm. Animals don't stop when you stop breathing. The third night, sleep disappeared. They began seeing movement between trees, shadows where there were none, branches snapping far too close. Then the worst part began. Whispers. Not loud, not clear, just faint murmurs carried by wind. Each man heard something different. Carter heard his father's voice telling him he was still weak. Victor heard his ex-wife laughing at his failures. Miles heard the words, "You're not built for this." There were no speakers, no devices, just darkness, and their own minds turning against them. By morning, 2 men wanted to quit. They said it wasn't worth it. They said something was wrong with that forest. But one man, Adrian, remained calm. He hadn't spoken much since the second night. When asked why he wasn't afraid, he said something that froze them. The forest isn't hunting us, it's exposing us. Silence. He continued, "Out here, there's no distraction, no phone, no noise, no validation, no applause. Just you and the voice you've been running from." That night, the whispers grew louder, but Adrian did something different. Instead of covering his ears, he stood up. He walked into the darkness, alone. The others shouted at him, but he didn't stop. The deeper he walked, the louder the whispers became. "You're not enough. You will fail. You always quit." He didn't run. He didn't scream. He didn't argue. He said one sentence into the darkness, "I hear you." The forest went silent, because fear feeds on resistance, but discipline starves it. Back at camp, panic grew. 2 men packed their gear. They left before sunrise. One stayed frozen by fear. But Adrian returned at dawn, calm, steady, different. When asked what happened, he said, "There is nothing in that forest. The only thing out there is everything you've been avoiding inside." The remaining 2 men finished the 3rd day, not because the forest became easier, but because they understood the truth. The horror wasn't supernatural, it was psychological. Black Hollow doesn't hunt the weak, it reveals them, and most men cannot handle being alone with their own thoughts. Listen carefully. You don't need a forest to face this. Every night when you lie in silence, every time you fail, every time you avoid starting, the whispers are there. You're not ready. You're too late. Others are ahead. The question is not whether fear exists. The question is, will you walk into it, or will you run? Warriors are not men without darkness. They are men who walk into it willingly, who listen to the voice of doubt and move anyway. Adrian didn't conquer the forest, he conquered himself, and that is the most terrifying battle of all. So when your mind whispers weakness, stand up, walk towards it, say, "I hear you," and keep moving. Because the real monster is the version of you that keeps running. And warriors, they don't run, they advance.